Imagine a typical high school classroom buzzing with the noise of teenagers. Now look at the back. That's where you'll find Jake, engrossed in a physics textbook, like he's deciphering the secrets of the universe or something. Across the room, that's me, Zoe. I'm equally absorbed, but in a novel that's as thick as they come. We're both in our own little worlds, not really mingling with the popular kids or anyone else for that matter. We've never even spoken to each other. Let's face it, we're both pretty nerdy, and our social lives are nothing to write home about. I'm flipping through my book, sighing audibly at the twists and turns of the plot. Jake's over there mumbling to himself about physics equations like, if the speed is constant, then the force must be zero, right? So that's us, two nerdy kids in a world of their own. Hey everyone, if you've ever felt like an outsider, this story is for you. Stick around, and if you like what you hear, hit that like button and subscribe to Out of a Book. Trust me, you'll want to hear the whole story. Now let's move to chemistry class. I'm at one table, engrossed in my own chemical experiment. Jake's at another table, doing the same. Suddenly, he walks over to me.
Hey, you're in my physics class, right?
I look up, a bit surprised, but intrigued. Yeah, you're the guy who's always into math, right? He laughs, and it's contagious.
Exactly. And you're the one always buried in books.
Just as we're starting to connect, chaos erupts. A beaker from another table tips over, causing a chemical reaction. The room fills with gas, and we both inhale it and pass out. The next thing we know, we're in an ambulance, sirens blaring. Our eyes meet for a brief moment before everything fades. When we wake up, we're in a hospital room. We've both been in a coma for a few days, but something's changed. I look at Jake, and I can tell he feels it too. We both look at each other, and it's like we're seeing each other for the first time. But it's not just that. It's like we're seeing everything for the first time. The colors in the room seem brighter, the sounds more vivid. It's as if our senses have been heightened. Jake breaks the silence.
So, I guess we have chemistry, huh?
I burst into laughter. Chemistry? Is that your idea of a joke after we both nearly died in a chemical explosion? He grins.
Well, you've got to admit, it's not every day you meet someone in such a reactive way.
I can't help but laugh again. Okay, you win. That was a good one. The nurse walks in, checking our vitals and making sure we're okay. You two seem to be getting along well, she notes. That's good. Emotional support is crucial for recovery. Jake looks at me.
See? Even the nurse thinks we've got chemistry.
I roll my eyes, but smile. All right, Einstein, let's not get carried away. Fast forward a bit, and we're not the same people you remember from that chemistry lab. Jake's now the go-to guy for anyone struggling in math or physics.
Trust me, it's not rocket science. You just need to look at it from the right angle,
Jake said, helping a classmate with a tricky equation. And me, I've gone from flipping through novels to leading a book club that's the talk of the school. Books aren't just an escape, they're a journey into another world, I announced at the last meeting. You should join us next week. But here's where it gets interesting. We decide to step out of our comfort zones. Next thing you know, we're both at a local fashion event, modeling.
From physics lab to runway, huh?
He grinned as we walked off the stage. And from book club to photo shoots, I replied. We're full of surprises. Jake then joins the debate team. And let me tell you, he's a natural. He's up there talking about renewable energy like he's been doing it for years. You were amazing, I exclaimed afterward. You've got a gift for this.
Thanks,
Jake said.
Having you in the audience made all the difference.
As for me, I start writing for the school newspaper. My first article goes viral within the school community.
Your article is incredible.
He texted me. Just shared it with everyone I know. Thanks, I replied. Your debate last week gave me the inspiration I needed. We're not just navigating high school anymore. We're influencing it. People are starting to see us differently.
We're not just a couple. We're a force to be reckoned with.
Jake looked at me and said, as we sit down at a cozy little cafe one evening, Jake suddenly looks puzzled, as if he's trying to solve a complex equation in his head.
You look different,
he finally says, breaking the ice.
Wait, didn't you used to wear those thick glasses?
I laugh. You remember those? Yeah, I switched to lenses recently.
Ah, that's it.
He smiles.
You always rock those thick glasses though. They had character.
I thought it was time for a change, I reply. Just like how you've gone from being the quiet guy in the back of the class to Mr. Debate Team Star. Jake laughs.
Well, we've both come a long way from that chemistry lab, haven't we?
Definitely, I say. From lab partners to life partners, perhaps. He looks at me and smiles.
I like the sound of that.
Two classmates, Sarah and Tim, are sitting in the school cafeteria, their eyes following Jake and me as we walk by, laughing and chatting. Can you believe those two? Sarah says, shaking her head. I mean, they were always smart, but now they're like celebrities or something. Tim nods.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're acing every class, leading clubs, and now even modeling. What's going on?
Sarah leans in closer, lowering her voice. You know the rumor, right? They say Jake and Zoe mixed some chemical in the lab that turned them into this power couple. Tim raises an eyebrow.
A chemical? Seriously? That sounds like something out of a comic book.
Sarah shrugs. I don't know, man. Did you see them before? And look at them now. Something's up. Tim watches as Jake and I high-five each other before going our separate ways to class.
Well, whatever it is, it's working. They're unstoppable.
Feeling the weight of the mystery, Sarah and Tim decide they can't let this go. Armed with notepads and their phones for quick photos, they start trailing Jake and me after school. Initially, they find us at the library and then at a cafe, engrossed in our studies.
See, told you. They're just nerds,
Tim whispers, second-guessing their mission. Sarah isn't convinced. Nerds don't suddenly become the coolest kids in school. Keep watching. For several days, they shadow us. They see us practicing for the debate team, leading our respective clubs, and even participating in a photo shoot for a local magazine. Despite their observations, nothing seems out of the ordinary. No secret labs, no mysterious chemicals. Maybe we're wrong, Sarah starts to say, but then she pauses, looking at Tim. You know what? No, something's up. We need to keep watching. Tim nods, his curiosity reignited.
Agreed. We're not stopping until we get to the bottom of this.
As the weeks go by, Jake and I continue to excel in everything we do, but something subtle starts to change. We begin making excuses to not see each other at night, while our daytime interactions remain as strong as ever. Hey, can we skip our evening study session? I need to catch some early sleep, I text Jake one day.
Sure, no problem. Rest up,
he replies. Another time, Jake texts me.
Got a big assignment due tomorrow. Can we reschedule our dinner plans?
Absolutely. School comes first, I text back. Sarah and Tim, who've been closely following our every move, find this new pattern intriguing. Have you noticed? Sarah asks, flipping through her notes. They're still hanging out during the day, but they've started avoiding each other at night. Tim raises an eyebrow.
You're right. That's odd. They're a couple, but they're not spending their evenings together anymore.
Sarah's eyes narrow. Something's not adding up. Why only avoid each other at night? Tim nods, his curiosity piqued.
Exactly. We need to dig deeper to find out what they're really up to during those evenings.
One day, Jake texts me.
We need to talk. Can we meet tonight?
Sure, I text back, a bit curious. That night, Jake shows up with his bike.
Hop on,
he says.
I've got something to show you.
We ride far away, stopping in a big open field. Jake turns to me and says,
I've got a secret. I've changed.
Before I can ask what he means, he jumps super high in the air and lands back next to me.
I'm a superhero,
he says. I burst out laughing and he looks at me puzzled. Don't tell me, are you also I float up off the ground for a second and then come back down. Yep, I'm a superhero too. We both laugh and hug each other tightly. Do you also go out to save the city late nights like I do? I ask. He grins.
Yeah, it's become a bit of a hobby.
Just then, Sarah and Tim, who followed us all the way, watch from a distance, completely stunned. "Did you see that?" Sarah whispers.
Yeah,
Tim says.
I can't believe it, but yeah, I saw it. They're superheroes.
Feeling playful, Jake and I use our powers to create a small gust of wind and a flash of light, disorienting Sarah and Tim for a moment. When they regain their senses, Sarah looks around, confused. "Wait, where are we? How did we get here?" Tim scratches his head, equally puzzled, and then blurts out,
Do you think we time traveled to get more cow milk for the cafeteria?